Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Dodgers Territory. Alongside my host, Clint Pasillas, I'm Alanna Rizzo. We are very happy to welcome back Blake Treinen, Dodgers reliever, to the show. Always appreciate him taking the time to be with us as the Dodgers continue their trip in Philadelphia, hopefully getting a win tonight against the Fightin' Phils. And Blake, congratulations, first and foremost. I know that you just hit 10 years of service time. That is an accomplishment that not many people can say that they have done. What does it feel like for you to know that you've been in the show over a decade, fully vested, and what a moment for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. It's been a ride. There's been ups and downs. Ultimately, I'm here by the grace of God and a lot of hard work that was instilled in me as a kid from my parents, and then a lot of support from my wife for the last, decade because we're going on our 10-year anniversary. So as long as I've been in the big leagues, we've been together. So um, yeah, it's been quite the accomplishment. I think sometimes you don't realize the feat that necessarily it is to get to 10 years, and eventually it'll sink in. But right now, I'm just really focused on staying healthy and trying to help the Dodgers and enjoying the ride that is the rest of my career.
Yeah, we know it really sinks in once you get that card in hand and you know you can go to baseball games for the rest of your life. So congrats again, as Alanna said. Through
Thank
the
you.
positive, of course, we have the rigors of a 162 game season. There are ups and downs in a long Major League Baseball season. What's kind of the mood in the clubhouse right now? Of course, so many veterans in that clubhouse. You guys have been through it. What is the mood? What's kind of the message, the mantra through a stretch like this?
Well, the one thing I've learned coming to the Dodgers is there's not a lot of emotional highs and lows. They do a really good job of staying even keel. That starts with leadership, as high as Andrew Friedman down to Dave, and then into the for me as a bullpen guy, our pitching coach and Mark and Connor, and then down to Bard in the bullpen with us. A lot of guys have understood that baseball season is long. There are ups and downs, and when you're winning, you ride it as long as you can, knowing that there is inevitably a low. Um, I don't see any pressing or stress or anything. The season has taken its toll on a few of our guys physically. We're trying to get the next man up type mentality. And I think some of the young guys have done a pretty good job, and then learning to trust themselves in these situations as well is going to be huge for us down the stretch until we get some guys back.
I don't know that
Um,
I can. I apologize, Blake. I don't know that I
no, you're fine.
can assess your mechanics, but I can assess the eye test. And you look filthy over your last 24 appearances. I don't want to get into the numbers because you guys get mad at me when I do that, so I won't. But
You have a
looking at
job. I have a
you,
job. We're fine.
looking at you, you look so dialed in. Is that fair to say that?
I would say there are innings that are a lot crisper and cleaner than others. There it is still a little bit of a process for me coming back from surgery, but health I feel great. It's just some days I feel better than others, and but for the most part, it is true that there are things that I'm accomplishing now that I necessarily haven't done in my career, which is nice. And there are things that like it's hard to just kind of let be, and the competitive side of me wants a little bit of velocity, but
Mhm.
velocity is a luxury, and command of movement is what will drive success, in my opinion. Or at least it's what I'm being learned. I'm learning through right now. I'm very grateful. I've got great people around me that have produced the product that you see right now, and by the grace of God, I'm back and I'm throwing, and the shoulder feels good. So I would say things are going well.
Yeah, talking about movement, that we said it last time. Your movement is nasty. The stuff looks good. Scoreless in 22 of 24 outings, and I'm sure that is very meaningful to you. We know it's meaningful to a baseball team, and keeping the game there is important part of your job. You
Yeah.
talked about the injuries earlier. You talked about your own injuries, injury worries, and all of that. We got a guy right now who's kind of going through it with Walker Bueller. Injuries overall, been a storyline for this team. This is kind of more for fans, like speaking to fans, for them to kind of understand, what it takes coming back from major surgery, let alone somebody like Walker coming back from, his second Tommy John.
Mhm.
The process isn't linear. What do you kind of tell fans, like, give people some grace in these moments where he's trying to figure it out and trying to figure himself out? How do you speak to that?
Honestly, thank God we're not robots and we're still human. Everybody is different in their own way, shape, or form. I had aspirations to come back last year. I pushed as hard as I could, but at a certain point in time, you have to do what your body allows you to do. And Walker Buehler is going to be good for years to come, just like other guys who are going through some injuries right now are going to be good for in the next few weeks, months, years. The problem that people run into is we get these medical timetables that tell us, oh, he'll be back 12 to 14 weeks or 8 to 10 weeks. And if we're not the exact perfect version of when we left before we got hurt, they're starting to wonder, well, were they dedicated? Did they do it right? Was the surgery botched? Was this? There's so many things that people try to understand, but the biggest thing to know is that the body is unique in itself, and we have plenty of people around us doing the best they can to get us right. The worst thing that we can do as athletes is to come back too soon and force an issue, and now something else gets hurt, and you're looking at an even longer, if not a career-ending issue. Um, Something I ran into last year, for instance, was I tried pushing it, and then all of a sudden my forearm started getting, sore and achy. So I'm like, hey, it's not a time to push right now. It might be better to just have that full time window of recovery and then some through the off season. And I've reaped the benefits, and I'm hoping the Dodgers have reaped the benefits as well.
Does the All-Star break come at a good time for this club?
Yeah, I think the All Star break comes at a good time for everybody. No one's going to talk about how the body feels, because in baseball we play through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like some days you feel great, some days you don't. It's 162 games in 180 something days. Somebody equated it one time, the NFL is like wearing a bunch of haymakers from Mike Tyson, and then baseball's like just taking a bunch of body blows back to back to back, and it doesn't bother you for a while, but after a while it catches up to you. And just learning how to prepare and recover, those few days are going to go a long way for, I bet, about everybody in baseball.
Stepping back a second, I appreciate the insight there on the
Yeah,
injury stuff. I think a lot of people don't really understand that. Even me, I get to be harsh at this team. I both cover the team as a reporter and as a fan, and it's sometimes it's hard to differentiate. Try to
yeah,
do my best to echo to people. You guys are humans. They're humans too. Stay out of the DMs. Give them some grace. Sometimes it's obvious they're trying. You guys are always trying your best.
yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. Back on the All-Star break, let's have a little fun with it. What's Blake Treinen's off? Those 4 days off. What do they look like for you?
I'm going to be with my family. We're going to try to get out of society and go camping, get away from it all. Last year I really wasn't around anything, but we decided to go camping, and it was the best 4 days of an All-Star break I've probably ever had. Seeing the kids explore and just being around my wife and my three little ones. So it'll be a little bit more low key. My wife being pregnant with our fourth, and so we can't probably push it like we did last year. But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to having time with my kids.
There's a couple of things I know about you, and I regret I didn't get to know you better while I was there. But there's things I know about you. You're a man of an unbelievable work ethic. You're a man of true faith. You're a man of character. You're a man of family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell me about the charity that you guys have put together in a way to help folks with cancer in the Northwest area. I know it's very near and dear to your heart. All of us have been affected by cancer in some shape or form. So tell me a bit
Mhm.
more about Psalm 23 and what you're doing with it and how we can help.
So this is something that we tried starting in 21 after Katie's mom passed away, Kirsten, and the foundation was created in her name. She went through non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was probably the worst experience of our lives. Um, Seeing your wife go through something, losing their best friend, and really, as anybody can attest, a parent that you lean on in any type of life situation that's not there anymore is definitely hard. But we got to see the ugly side of cancer. We got to see the ugly side of the medical uh, field. We see people, we pay health insurance our whole lives, and the second that Kirsten in her situation needed it the most, they played the back and forth game, and it ended up delaying treatment that she wasn't able to qualify for anymore. So we were like, there's got to be a better way. And we believe that spiritual healing is obviously a huge aspect in everything. We have a big God that's bigger than our circumstances. That's why we named it Psalm 23 Ministries. But ultimately, we want people to have the opportunity that if the medical system fails them, there is natural ways that they can explore to see what works best for them. And the hardest part for my mother-in-law and seeing what my father-in-law and her kids had to go through was the process of getting to and from treatments, the burden of providing food because you're putting all the money towards treatments, the burden of finances for, if you're in a rural area, you have to go get a hotel room or gas or maybe even treatments themselves. It's a huge burden outside of just having cancer. So we want to alleviate that stress on families and hopefully provide them with links and sources to maybe meet them in a way that conventional medicine hasn't. Um, so that's why we created Psalm 23 Ministry. It's a nonprofit organization, tax deductible. We are really just trying to meet and fill a gap for people who need to know that they're loved, and there's people trying to support them through this process. And really grateful for you guys. We tried to get this started back in 22. Obviously, I had the injury with my shoulder. It didn't we didn't necessarily know how to get it kickstarted over the last couple of years, but platforms like y'all's and with the Dodgers organization in general, we are grateful that you guys are taking the time to even bring awareness to it because we just want to bless families. And I want to go ahead and thank anybody who feels led. We just ask people to pray about it. If you feel led to give, we want you to know that all of that money goes towards the people dealing with cancer. It goes. It's a nonprofit. We don't take anything, and we just want people to have access to resources and a burden lifted off because cancer is not an easy thing to go through.
And again, we said every single one of us has been affected by cancer in some way, shape, or form. We've had people in our lives, our families, our friends affected by it, have lost people to it. And you're absolutely right. There's so much more that goes into what people are battling that have nothing to do with the actual illness. It's everything else that they have to go through as well. And what Psalm 23 Ministries is doing is so important. And you can help. It's easy. If you can pray about it, of course, as Blake asked you to do, but you can also open up your wallet, psalm23.org is how you can help. And 100% of the proceeds go to benefit those families and folks in need. Blake, before we let you go, because obviously that's a heavy
Yeah.
topic, but we did want to talk to you about it and let our viewers know about what you're doing. As you look back on your career, and again, I've asked Clayton this 1,000 times, and he's like, I'm not ready to look back at it yet because you guys are still in the middle of it, right? And
Yeah.
Clayton's not
Yeah.
one to ever admit anything that he's accomplished, even though he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. If you look back at the career now that you're fully vested and you have that 10 years of service time, is there anything that you would have done differently, or perhaps one thing that you're most proud of to this point? Because you're not done yet.
Uh, maybe a couple interactions. I would like to change. I mean, we can always nitpick. My biggest thing when I leave this game, I want people to think of me as like a phenomenal teammate who helped encourage and uplift through the highs and the lows. It is not an easy game. I have certainly experienced the hard struggles of it, physically, mentally, performance wise. Um, so I would hope that most of my interactions, if not all of them, have been in a positive light to those around me. Um, you know, so in the second half of your question, you might have to refresh me. I was focused on the first part. You said something about like things to come
Anything that you're
that
proud
maybe I.
of, something that you're really proud
Oh,
of, because you're not done yet. And you look back and it's so difficult to do what you guys do. Forget striking a guy out. Forget hitting a
yeah.
single. Just what you do on a day in and day out basis over the course of 10 years is difficult. So is there anything in particular
Mhm.
that you're proud of so far?
Yeah, I think, man, it's hard to say like the personal accolades, with being an all-star and being able to experience that, and then winning a World Series with the Dodgers has been obviously pretty amazing. But I think I'm probably most proud of is um, I think you hear from people as your career goes on how you've impacted either their child or my own kids. I want them to see the best in me through the ups and downs because life's not easy. So I think I'm the most proud of like when I'm handling it the best so that my kids can see things and lean on it when they're older and be proud of their dad. So I I mean, the accolades are easy to be excited about, but I'm probably just most proud of having the opportunity to just be a light with my teammates and my kids. That's probably honestly the one thing I'm most excited about.
Blake, I'm going to send you off with a real tough one here. We see clean shaven Blake Treinen.
Oh
We
yeah.
saw, we see the look, the 2020 World Series look. You got the beard. How do we know when Blake Treinen's really feeling himself? Is it bearded Treinen? Is it shaved
Man,
Treinen?
okay, so
Hard
here's the
hitting.
problem. I get to see my family for the first time in like a month and a half. My wife's not a beard fan. She doesn't like the mustache. I shaved into a mustache for one day because Bard is always busting us for people who do mustaches on purpose. Well, then his son's around and he's got a mustache on purpose. And I'm like, I'm long enough. I have to try a mustache. So I did it, and then we lost pretty good the other night. So I had to shave it off. And but if I could, I would grow the beard out. I just really, yeah, I really like when my wife's happy with how I look. So I'm not gonna, the COVID beard was one of my favorite things. I just had to get rid of it because it's like a repellent, like she doesn't really like the beard, so I try to keep it shaved as much as I can.
What
Well,
do
I
they
mean,
say?
you guys are having your fourth kid, so obviously you're doing something right,
Yeah,
Blake Treinen.
something's working. Yeah, we've got a
Happy wife,
we've got a,
happy
a
life, they
house full
say.
of kids. Yeah, yes. But after the All-Star break, I see my family for that homestand, and then afterwards, I don't know if I see him for a while, so I get to grow the beard out, and I'll be
Ah.
excited. Yeah,
I'm going to say it's the playoff beard, but hopefully the family's with you for the
yeah,
postseason. So, Blake Treinen,
yeah. Maybe
congratulations. 10 years of service time. You are a pleasure to get to know, pleasure to talk to, pleasure to watch your career over the course of
thanks,
the
guys.
decade. So, and best of luck with Psalm 23. Again, psalm23.org. That's
Thank
how
you,
you
guys.
can help folks in the Pacific Northwest. And best of luck the rest of the way. Can you please win a game against the Phillies? That'd be great, Blake.
I know we will. I just really want to thank you guys again for taking the time to plug the organization. Just trying to help as many as we can. So and go Dodgers! I guess we got to win a game tonight.
Yeah. All right, Blake Treinen, you be good. We'll talk to you soon. All right, Clint, always a pleasure to have players on, of course. Let's talk about some stuff we don't want to talk about, and that's blue balls. Good Lord, our pitching staff.
It's
Not
tough.
only do we have an unbelievable pitching staff on the IL, we have a very key piece to our rotation that has got to work out some kinks in Bobby Miller, and he got optioned to AAA. I mean, yeah, this is it right now. Honest to goodness, Mexican rug dealer. The Dodgers currently. It is a MASH unit, for goodness
Yeah.
sake.
Yeah, it's tough, and you know what, Alanna, you're the one who kind of was shining the light on this for a while. You had that worry. We talked about it on Monday too. What does this team do when they lose Tyler Glasnow? And you mentioned Bobby Miller, who's getting sent down while fully healthy. That's another whole conversation. But Tyler Glasnow goes down, with the back injury or whatever it is.
Tightness.
Very
Toit.
clearly,
Back is toit.
it's very tight, feeling tight like a tiger. Well-timed break for Glasnow, who we all know we were talking about the innings concerned and all of that. But this starting rotation, I mean, we've mentioned maybe one guy. Do you think this is a team that needs to go out and acquire two starters? How do you feel about the rotation at this moment?
Absolutely. Before Glasnow had back tightness, which I think they're just giving him a blow. Honestly, I think they're just giving him. You know what? Like, let's make sure he doesn't have this start before the All-Star game. Let's give him the All-Star break, and then we'll reassess. I really do believe they're just kind of spacing him out because this is a guy we all know. Everyone's talked about it at nauseum. He's going to pass his innings mark for the season. He's been tremendous, but I do believe this wholeheartedly. Work out the cobwebs for Bobby Miller, get back on track, perhaps get some confidence up. You're facing not to take anything away from AAA hitters, but they're not big leaguers yet, right? So get your confidence up against some big league, some AAA guys down in Oklahoma City. Figure it out and figure out whatever. I don't believe with Miller it's anything mechanics wise or anything physical. I think it's between the ears. I think he's in his head and can't get out of his head right now. So I think that's a good move. But yes, to answer your question, I do believe you have to get two. I wanted to say one frontline starter, but now I think you definitely need two starters because you don't know what the situation is with Yamamoto. You don't know if Buehler's going to get back on track after his second TJ. You don't know what you're going to get from Kirsch. The good thing about Kirsch is he will be fresh, and Kirsch is a competitor. Yeah. And I don't think that they will let him come back unless he's fully able to go as hard as he wants to. You cannot count on Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller, and Landon Knack, we're throwing up against. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. They're not ready for this.
That's not
They're
a
not ready.
championship rotation. And
No,
hey,
not against the
trust me,
Phillies lineup like that. It's not.
yeah.
And again, it's no disrespect. It's just a matter of look at the back of their baseball cards. These are guys, and I maintain this from last season. These are guys are getting called up out of necessity, not out of experience and production. It's because this pitching staff is decimated. And again, I know everybody loves to hate the Dodgers. Nobody feels sorry for us. I understand that. But I am worried about this Dodgers starting rotation. I have been since the onset.
No, you have. I'll give this much, or try to maintain some positivity. I mean, they entered the season. We knew Kershaw was going to be out. They decided they're going to go. Give Walker Buehler that first month off. Maybe it was kind of a little bit of they didn't know where the stuff was at, where the mechanics were at. Dustin May on the IL. Emmett Sheehan done for the year. Tony Gonsolin done for the year. Everybody wants to forget about Tony Gonsolin as a piece of this rotation. Then as the season goes along, you lose Yamamoto. Somebody like Kyle Hurt, where thankfully I got some reports from a source. I'm gonna go sources on this show. Ooh,
Ooh,
I feel
wow.
important, but all the scans came back positive on Hurt, or negative on Hurt, I should say. They're good. There's good news on Hurt.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back and throwing in a month, but it's still it's tough. It's a painful watch. Fans are they're feeling the hurt along with the rest of this team that's down an entire starting rotation plus a little bit of depth. But through all of this, what is it? I have notes somewhere. 22-20 since May 21st, and they've only lost a half game in the standings. Nobody's jumping to leapfrog the Dodgers here in the
Well,
NL
that's the
West.
thing, though. That's the thing, though, Clint. Thank God. Thank God
Yeah.
that the division is as weak as it is. Because if the Giants were playing as well as we thought they were going to at the
Yeah.
beginning of the season, when they signed Chapman, when they signed Snell, when they signed, I mean, I realize Snell was towards the end of spring, whatever. I get it was a late sign. But if the Giants were playing as well as we thought they were going to play, if the Padres, if you look at the Padres roster, I mean, it's a very dangerous team on paper. If those two teams, again, no disrespect to the National League winners in the Arizona Diamondbacks, but they have not played as well as we thought, and the Rockies, whatever, or the Rockies, but if those teams were playing up to the expectations, the Dodgers could be in a much tighter race in the National League West.
Yeah. And, I mean, the NL West has had its own injury issues all around.
Every team has.
Yeah, and that's part of baseball. It's 162, like we said, over 180 days. But we care about the Dodgers, so we're more annoyed and we're more sad about this. But if this team doesn't go out and add at least one guy, and then you are banking on health, you are banking on guys coming back. And I was going to say, as part of my positive as well, with Clayton Kershaw, I always trust Clayton Kershaw to figure out how. I mean, he could probably go out there and throw right-handed and put you up like, 5 innings and 3 earned or something like that. Kershaw can figure it out if he can go out and post a 2.5 ERA with his shoulder falling off for most of the second half last year. He can figure out how to do it with a brand new feeling shoulder. So Kershaw will come back. He will give this team meaningful innings, and he will be an important part of a potential postseason rotation, or whatever role he ends up having. I'm pretty sure Clayton Kershaw is starting games, maybe as your number 4 starter. If he has to move up in the rotation, though, that's where you got to be worried, and that's where you feel you can look back, or you can look in September, in October, you can look back at July and be annoyed. You can be pissed at the front office for not doing enough moves. This trade deadline, it can't be a Lance Lynn trade deadline. It can't be a Joe Kelly type of trade deadline like we saw last year. This needs to be a splash. This needs to be like 2021, where they went out and got Trey Turner, Max Scherzer from the Washington Nationals. They need to move big.
Max Scherzer worked out real well for us in that trade. And I understand. And thank you, Max, for coming on Foul Territory. I love you for that. I do. And I love you and Erica for saving dogs. That, to me, is far more impressive than your Hall of Fame career, because Max Scherzer will be a Hall of Famer. My point is, I don't like the arm fatigue when we needed him most. Here's the thing, though. There are teams that have covered the gaps, made up a lot of room. Look at the frickin' Astros. Look at the Boston Red Sox. I just think that the Dodgers, I need you to increase the lead, but I need you to have a 30-game lead. Let's go. All right. How about we hear from our friends Eric Kratz and Scott Braun on AG1?
Kratz here from FT. I wasn't feeling as focused as I wanted to be and heard some buzz about AG1. Since drinking AG1 daily, I felt energized, locked in, and ready to hit the day.
Braun here, that's because AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a better, smarter way to elevate your baseline health. Kratz, not only did I replace my multivitamin with AG1, but I love that every scoop also includes prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes for gut support. That's a big deal for me.
I recommend AG1 to fam and friends because it's tested for 950 contaminants and NSF certified for sport.
Kratz, we're both traveling a lot too, and those travel packs are clutch. I drink AG1 daily to support gut health so that we can dominate the day. So if there's one product to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why we're excited to welcome them as a new partner to the FT network. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/Val. That's drinkag1.com/Val. Go check it out.
All right, time now for Last Licks. I would like to introduce you to Ollie. This boy is running out of time, you guys. His deadline is today, July 11th at 4 p.m. Pacific. He is at the San Bernardino shelter. He is perfectly healthy. He is a 1-year-old border collie mix. He is wonderful in play groups. He likes other dogs. He's pretty timid for a border collie. They're usually pretty active, crazy dogs. Not crazy, that's not fair, but just very smart and need a lot of mental and physical stimulation. He will be put to sleep by 4 p.m. today if he is not rescued today. They are killing perfectly healthy dogs in shelters across our nation. California is one of the worst places for it. So if you are in the San Bernardino area and you're interested in Ollie, please let us know at GoodreadsGuardian.org or call the San Bernardino shelter directly if you want to save Ollie's life. I hate to be the downer, but that's just the reality of the shelter crisis that we're in right now. But before we say goodbye here on Dodgers territory, again, thank you to Blake Treinen for his time. We have been clamoring, Clint Pasillas, to have a Dodger in the home run derby. I wanted Shohei. I think the world wants Shohei. I understand why he's not in it, but I'm all for Teo getting in. I mean, this guy has been, to me, the MVP of the first half of our season. I can't wait to see him in this. What's your take on it?
Yeah, no, I'm happy there is Dodger representation. I think this is not the most exciting home run derby we've seen in our lifetime or in recent vintage. But if somebody can go out there and drop some bombas, I feel like Teoscar Hernandez can do it. And I think the whole world, we don't need to get into why, but I think the whole world is rooting for him in that first round. He'll be in the derby, but it's good. It's good for Teoscar. He said he wanted to do it, and he's getting that opportunity. And he's got big boy strength. That's what I like about him. You've seen some of these Dodgers in the past where, Alanna, you've seen them hit in batting practice. The Dodgers don't preach like swinging for the fences. The approach is very calm, very selective. But you get guys from out of the organization. Like I remember watching in batting practice, other teams show up and then they're putting balls halfway up the bleachers during BP. Guys like Teoscar, they can put on a show. Guys like Shohei Ohtani can put on a show. Listen, I'm putting a very small amount of money into not actually betting because I don't bet very much.
You're not allowed to bet. We're not allowed to bet. We're not allowed to bet. Don't get yourself into trouble. Don't get yourself into trouble.
Can I bet $1 or bet a beer?
As long as Teoscar doesn't have 5 o'clock power, I'm good with it. Ken Rosenthal thinks that Ozuna is going to win the Derby. We just talked to him on Fair Territory. I'm going to go with Alonso just because of experience. I know the rules have changed this year, but I'm going to go with Alonso. He's been in it 2 other times. By the way, what do you think about this? Scott Braun just told us that on Foul Territory that Kenley Jansen said that he wants to retire as a Dodger.
Listen, if you can get Kenley back in the right situation, you can bring your all-time saves leader back home. I think, Alanna, I mean, I know how much you love these guys, in particular guys that were with you the most of the entirety of your time covering the team. Kenley, Justin Turner. There is the right time for reunions. There's a wrong time for reunions. And if the time is right, I'm more than happy to see KJ74 come back home. And, hopefully, he does the right thing and comes out to California Love. We can get the chills going again because he did change the song at one point. But
I know he did while he was still in California, and it irritated me. By the way, you can go back and watch it on the Foul Territory channel because he just said that on Foul. We're obviously on after Foul, so go ahead and check that out. I don't want it though if that means sending Bueller away. I know that's been talk like, oh, would you take Kenley back if that means trading Bueller? No, Walker Bueller is going to be back to his Walker Bueller butane MFing self. So, all right, Clint, what's coming up on All Dodgers?
Tonight we will be post-gaming myself and producer Kevin. So hopefully we're talking about a Dodgers win. I did predict this series they would win one game, and I was kind of had the back of mind fear they could get swept because there's a reality. The Dodgers are hurt. They got a lot of problems. They're tired, and the Philadelphia Phillies are a really, really good baseball team. So guys, pull up a chair, pull up a beer. We'll be on after the baseball game. 6 p.m. or whatever it ends up being. I don't know what time the game ends, but yeah, just All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. That's me.
All right, All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas on Thursday. I am on my way to Logan Airport. I am flying to Tampa to see Morgan Wallen.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.